Hello guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video of this channel. And in today's topic, I'm going to discuss something that I wanted to talk about for a very long time, but I haven't done the enough amount of sleep processing in order for me to talk about it. And now that I know finally, I want to start off by saying that this is a totally different video than the one that I intended to make, because I originally planned to do something that was quite similar to another fellow OP member that is called Jennifer. She's called Jennifer. She has another YouTube channel of hers that is called What the Fails. And she very recently posted a video in which she discusses like all the insights gained in since getting typed by Dave and Shan many years ago, and how some coins, how she thinks that some coins were pretty nailed and spot on, and how other coins of her type things she thinks that Dave and Shan may have like missed the mark on that. And it was a very interesting video. It was a very encouraging and a very inspiring video to make. And I even wrote on the comment section of her video that I was planning to do the same. And she, of course, encouraged me to do that. However, when I started to record this video, which by the way, I have intended to record this video like 20 times already, if not more, I was trying in a way so hard to make it look like Jennifer's video, since the format and the way that she presented the information was so clear, so SSC clear, so well laid down, and she was able to communicate so clearly like all the in-depths of her own insights gained throughout the years of her getting typed by Dave and Chan, you know? But then I realized that I'm not Jennifer's type, and there's no way in the world that I can do this video, as an exact replica of Jennifer's video. I essentially need to be myself. I need to really communicate what I think. So that's why the topic of this video is going to be way different than the topic that I intended to. And the reason why that is because lately I've been struck by a very huge insight in regards to my type and how like toxic my first function is in reality. So without further ado, well, let's get the video started with that unnecessary introduction. So I would like to start by speaking to you guys about the importance of like really take the time to process the type that you've been given to once that Dave and Chan give that to you. And they even mention under OP content that it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for that type to sit in and to really be able to see yourself through those lenses, through the OP lenses. So to start, I was typed on March last year by Devin Chen, and I was typed as double feminine SCFI, consume, sleep, play, blast. And it made a lot of sense. It was like the type that I think that best fit me, particularly when I started to speak to another twin types of mine. I realized that we have a lot of experiences in common. I realized that we speak like a very similar language and we communicated in a very similar way, you know? And it was kind of fun and really exciting to get to know my type twins, because for the first time in my life, I felt like I was able to speak to someone who truly 100% gets me, you know? And that's like the masculine DI epiphany. Once that you get to meet someone that really understands your DI pretty well, is like really I don't know how to describe it right now, because the word that I'm trying to pull out from my mouth has completely gone. That's a perfect example of feminine sensory and blast last, you know? Words just disappear from your mind each time that you want to use them. But well, anyways, the point of this video was not that. The point of this video is actually uh, sharing with you some type of information that I've been keeping to myself lately and I'm not been sharing. And I think that this might be beneficial for other SC users and for the OP community in general, you know. And well, the topic of this video is basically in regards to how toxic being an SC savior can become, you know. And SC is perceived as like the most easy function to emulate of them all. And I don't blame them. It is really the most easiest function to emulate, whether you have it or not. But also, people sometimes that are not SC users or SC DOMs can really like underestimate like the toxicity that saviors SC that us savior SCs can get into when you let that SC like run wild, you know, run wild. And I didn't realize myself, even though with consuming sleep I am considered to be on top of the self-awareness game. That sounds super corny, by the way, and super silly, but apparently I am one of the most self-aware people, like on the spectrum, the ones who are consume sleep. And yet I was like completely unaware of how much SE was breaking my life apart, you know. And I just realized that a couple of weeks ago. So to give you a little bit of SC context, I was like I was finishing this year, the last year, sorry, and starting this year, and honestly like feeling kind of shitty, you know. I was feeling quite shitty. I was feeling quite depressed. I was feeling like the cycle of depression and anxiety that I fought so hard over the years to get out of was slowly coming back. And I was getting desperate, and this time around I did get like super frustrated because I wasn't able to again, once more, accurately spot where this is coming from. You know, it's like why my life right now is like from the outside perspective is like a really good life, you know. Like I have so many opportunities, I have like so many people who love me, uh, rooting for me, supporting me, and yet I still feel stuck. I still feel like completely unmotivated to do the shit that I need to do to get better. And I'm kind of tired because like I've been feeling this like all my fucking life, you know. I've been feeling my whole life unmotivated to do anything that really caught like my attention, you know. And nothing in my life has really caught my attention enough for me to get play blasting like constantly enough for that to be developed and taken to another level, whether it's in terms of a skill, whether it's in terms of a hobby, whether it's in terms of a friendship, a relationship, anything, you know. Like I am unable to go like in a way in depth in the extroverted spectrum enough time so I can see like the benefits of that unfolding, you know. And I was starting to feel frustrated with myself because like in the most classic any demon demon way, like I was starting to feel like the panic of the age and the years like weighting down on me, and how this year I'm going to hit the big 3-0, and I still don't have like anything lined up in my life, you know. So I started like beating myself down and feeling like crap, because of how unable I am to even be able to carry my own weight, you know, at age 30. So this time I decided to do something a little bit different. Many of you guys in the OP community already know about Byron Katie, and the work as one of the most important approaches on how to dismantle false beliefs that are rooted like in thoughts, that you believe those thoughts to be true, and that becomes basically your narrative, you know. So I started with that, you know. I started by using like this known information to myself, you know, because at the end of the day I'm still a sleep saver, so I can manage to use my known information to my for myself at least. And I did that, and this time around I was finally able to spot like the constant NI pattern in me that has been like consistent throughout the years. And I was able to finally look at my life pile based on that pattern, and that pattern is me always believing that I'm not good enough. You know, now each of us at some point in life feel like they're not that like we're not good enough. Everybody can feel like that from time to time, but the origin of that might vary depending on the type that you are. So in this case I decided to go deeper. You know, it's like, okay, I know that this feeling of unwellness, this feeling of feeling behind in life, this feeling of not being out there in life, putting my own weight into life, comes from this feeling or this thought of not being good enough. But where does that not good enoughness come from? You know, because each of us have like a very different origin of that not good enoughness. And I realized, like, when I did the work, that not good enoughness in myself comes from playing the comparison game like all the time. Like, my whole life I've been comparing myself to other people. And that's basically what SE does. Like, an SE user is master on the comparison game. You're always comparing everything and everyone against each other, even against yourself especially. And that's something that many people that don't have SE as a savior may not understand, how toxic that pattern of behavior or that pattern of thinking can get when you leave that pattern to run wild inside your head. And I was finally able to see how my SC was writing the whole game, you know. And also I realized that if I continue to give that SC of mine like the attention and the force that I always been given it to, like will never gonna be able to feel good. I will never gonna be able to feel good enough, because the comparison game is a never ending story. It's a game where nobody wins, because sooner or later, even if you manage to get like at the top of the game of something, sooner or later someone else is going to come that is better than you, and is going to beat your ass, and is going to kick you to the ground, whether you like it or not. And it's a game that nobody wins, even though it's going to come maybe a time where you feel like you're winning. Like, sooner or later there's always going to appear somebody that is better than you, and is going to take that throne, whether you like it or not. And I realize that's not the way I want to live. I don't want to live my whole life and spend my whole life comparing myself to other people. Like, it's super exhausting. It's super exhausting, it's super tiring. And I realized then, as I was doing like the work, I realized that I came with this thought that said like, if I don't compare myself to other people, I can't see myself. And I realized, like, right there, at that very moment, right there, that's the game that I'm playing. That's the lie that I am telling myself all the time, and that I've been telling myself for decades now, that I can't leave the comparison game alone, that I always need to be outside on the SE spectrum checking the best everything for everything, and that I am not allowed to narrow down because I don't feel like I'm good enough to narrow things down. Like in my SE perspective, in my SE fucked up perspective, I finally realized that my SE function is making me see like the narrowing down game is for the ones who have already figured out. And I'm not. I'm so far behind on that. That's the illusion. That's the trap that us consumes like fall quite easily on. Like the blasters and the players are the ones who have already figured out how to move, even though that's not true at all. And that comes from exactly my SE function directly, and I've been working a lot lately on meditating on the subject and using like the sleep part of me the best I can to slow down the consume. Like I don't have to consume everything all the time. And in order to get ahead in life, I don't need to have the best of everything all the time. I don't need to be waiting for the best tool, the best system, the best master, the best teacher, the best knowledge to pop up. I don't need to be out there searching for that. Instead, I have the permission. I can give myself consciously, give myself the permission to narrow down, to use my known information and create something with it that is going to help me out. And I realized that's how you truly master anything. You don't master anything by just consuming it. Because again, it's a never ending game and you're never going to win. Ever. Because there's always going to be something better popping up. Always. Always. So if you wait for the best to pop up, like I realize that if I do that, I'm going to waste my whole life away. And I can't do that anymore. Like once that I saw clearly how my lead function was fucking me over and screwing up my life, like I end up being disgusted, guys. I'm not gonna lie. And I cry. I cried because it's like seeing for the first time that you have an addiction problem. It's like when the alcoholic is forced to turn inwards and see by himself or herself how much alcohol has affected his or her life. Like that's how it felt. And now I realize that I'm an addict to comparing myself all the time against everyone and against everything. And that needs to stop. And I'm using the same approach of Byron Katie in order to dismantle that. And I've been seeing lately that my blast and my play have improved quite a lot because I'm dismantling like little by little those beliefs that feed that addiction, Like I have the permission, even though I don't have the best of the best available to me to blast, I am allowed to blast. I'm allowed to screw up with blast. I'm allowed to be hated by the tribe each time that I do my blast and have people telling me that what I say is pure bullshit. Don't fucking care. I have the right to not care and keep going and keep blasting and keep playing and keep refining until I get it right. But that's the only way, Consume is not going to solve the problem. Never. It's going to make the issue even worse. So coming to that conclusion has been like a real life changer for me, guys. Like, seriously. And now I'm able to see more clearly how my SC is going on overdrive, and that helps me to stop it and say, no, 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 no. You don't need to search for the best at this particular situation. You already have what you have, and you need to make it work, because that's essentially what consume does, guys. It's like finding the fucking needle on the haystack, but sometimes you need to work with the hay in order to make a needle from the hay. That's it. And that's what I'm trying to teach myself. I've been trying to teach myself that after coming to that realization. And it has definitely like improved a lot my ability to communicate. It has definitely improved a lot my ability to connect thoughts and to be more linear and to communicate more clearly, because I'm realizing how much energy it takes for me to be constantly looking at the SE and comparing myself all the fucking time against everything and against everyone. It's a very tiring and toxic experience to be in when you do that all the time. And it's like, no wonder why I don't feel like I'm not good enough. No wonder. And when I first got type, like I reached out to my twin types, like I told you at the beginning of this video, and they were kind enough to share their own audios back then when Dave and Shan were still making audios for people who getting typed. I unfortunately didn't manage to get that when I got typed. And on those audios, like one of the things that took me the longest to understand is like to let go of this perspective as I consume sleep of that someday I'm going to fulfill my potential. Like it's better for me to let go that and in a way mourn that and let go the fact that I'm going to be perfect. I didn't understand that the first time that I heard that. Now with this new information and with this new insight, I finally understand it. And it's basically that is you get better by repeating yourself what you know until you master it. That's all you can do. And I'm trying to do that from now on. So expect more videos on the channel. And it was great to see you guys. Hope you're okay and see you in the next video. Bye bye.